What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a quick market update as we have some bullish signs popping up on the charts. So I want to bring this to your attention as we have been getting crushed in the recent past. Crypto is getting absolutely murdered right now. So I do just want to let you guys know about these bullish signs, some being a little smaller. And then we do have a couple of bullish signs that are very, very rare signals that are popping up and, making me think that we could have a nice relief rally. I know it seems like this relief rally is right around the corner for the past month, but nothing goes down in an absolute straight line, so we are bound to see some relief at some point, and these rare bullish signals could be a sign of this relief rally to come. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our great videos or urgent market updates like this that we upload to the channel. So we're just gonna start off here on the higher time frames. This is the weekly. I do just want to cover this a little bit for anybody who kind of hasn't been paying attention for the past couple weeks. We did not confirm our weekly green dot. Now, this is a very rare bullish signal that typically when it pops up on the charts, and by green dot, I mean a double green dot. You get the green dot on the momentum wave as well as below the momentum wave right here. And obviously this called the bottom in 2017. And in 2013, 2014, we actually printed two of these. The first one was a little bit of a fake out, and then the second one was the bottom. Nonetheless, though, a very, very bullish signal. So we were starting to print one here, a double green dot, but it has not confirmed and has completely disappeared as the VWAP has rejected off of that zero line. So, obviously we've come down a lot in the past week. So, that dot disappearing could have led us to think that that could have been on the horizon. But I just did want to cover that for anybody who kind of has been out of the loop for a little bit. But coming down to these higher time frames, we do have our 3-day VWAP starting to curve up. Money flow could look a little bit better, but as this VWAP continues to curve up towards this zero line, we could be putting in a pretty decent bullish divergence here, making lower lows on price and higher lows on market cipher B. So that's something to keep an eye out. Not printing just yet, but we can keep an eye out for it. We still have a bit to go here. Don't want to jump the gun too much on these signals, but 2-day coming up towards that zero line, same thing, bullish divergence starting to print. You would want to wait for that green dot on the bottom of the momentum wave to confirm before making any decisions, any trading decisions based off of this. But, it is looking pretty good. It is looking like these bullish divergence can start to form, looking pretty good. Again, I spoke about this yesterday on my stream. Daily bullish divergence also forming, nice higher low on market cipher B with a nice lower low on price. These on the higher time frames like this, the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day, these bullish divergences can tend to bring you up quite a bit. So keep an eye out for a confirmation on this, to kind of predict a big relief rally for Bitcoin, or at least a decent move up. But moving on down here, 16-hour did get that double green dot confirmed quite a while ago. But I was saying this on my stream yesterday. You want to be careful with these because we are starting to come down with the VWAP already, right? The VWAP's already coming down now. It is possible to get some support on that zero line and come back up with the VWAP, but you just want to, kind of notice that you are curving down with the VWAP like that. So typically, that's going to continue to move towards that zero line and maybe print a red dot. So keep an eye on that. 8-hour VWAP coming down, 10-hour VWAP coming down, 6-hour looking to print that red dot. So, obviously on these higher time frames like the 2-day with that bullish divergence starting to print, and the daily starting to print that daily bullish divergence, you want to understand that these higher time frames do take time to play out. So with that 6-hour, 6-hour VWAP coming down, looking to print that red dot, 4-hour below, actually 4 hours starting to curve back up. But you want to remember the daily bullish divergence, even when confirmed, may not play out immediately. It might take a little bit of time for that to play out. But your VWAP on the 4-hour coming back up, actually looking pretty good. 2-hour, same thing, VWAP coming up. And then I do just want to point out on our lower time frames, we are starting to print right here. We did print a bullish divergence, right? Lower low. And you get your higher low on market cipher B. You came up just a little bit. That one didn't play out too well. But when you start seeing these bullish divs starting to print on the lower time frames, you also have your money flow looking like it could be bottoming out and starting to turn back up to the upside. If we keep looking at these lower time frames, it does show signs, 10-minute curving up with that money flow, even the 15-minute looking like it could be bottoming out. You want to remember the lower time frames, right? 6 hour, real close to a money flow crossover into the green. So you want to remember when you have your 6 minute coming close to that zero line, your 10 minutes starting to come up close. This tends to bleed into the higher time frames. So your 12 minute getting up there, 15 minute not quite there yet. You are starting to print bullish divergences. Got a double green dot right here. It's not a horrible sign, but you want to see, with the lower time frames coming up, the 15 minute is likely to kind of follow. Now, one thing you can keep an eye out for is this 4 hour VWAP, right? Let me zoom in on this so you can make it a little easier to see for you guys. VWAP starting to curve up on the 4 hour. Now, if we get the VWAP coming up on the 4 hour and we get that crossover, that zero line to the upside, you want to keep an eye on the 15 minute. If you get that 15 minute money flow crossing over the zero line at the same time as that 4 hour VWAP, typically this is a pretty good strategy to enter longs. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to enter a long based off of this, but if you go back and back test this, it's pretty reliable. This is kind of what I'm keeping my eye on. Working up the time frames here a little bit, you are getting bullish divergences on the 23 minute. 30 minute did have a confirmed bullish divergence, not playing out that crazy just yet, but it is confirmed right here, higher low, lower low. And then, typically you will see a move to the upside. So if we continue higher, I think it is very likely that we could come up and test this 21,480 level or this spider line in that general area. And then if we break that level, we could be moving our way back up to test that 200-week moving average. So these are some targets, some shorter term targets based off of this 30-minute bullish divergence that I do think we could come up and test. Moving through the time frames here, the main thing I would be looking at is this daily bullish divergence for, to see a decent move to the upside for Bitcoin. Now let's go ahead and check on Ethereum. So for ETH, one thing you do want to notice here on the daily chart is you have a not confirmed, but you are starting to print that bullish divergence here. You have a higher low on your momentum waves as well as your lower low on your price, right? So typically this is very, very bullish, right? Could definitely see price coming up from here just based off of this daily bullish divergence. But you want to wait for it to confirm, right? You want this candle to close and start to print a new one so you can make sure it's confirmed. But this is making me feel pretty bullish. It's making me take a lot of profits out of my ETH short, but I do think we are also coming down to this level of support here at about $1,000. So psychological support there as well. That even number at $1,000 is typically very, very strong support or resistance, depending on which way you're coming up to it. But you're going to confirm this in about 7 hours. So if we can confirm this bullish daily divergence, this is a very rare sign. Not super rare, but they don't pop up all the time. And when they do pop up, they typically tend to play out in a very big way. So coming down to the lower time frames, guys, it's looking pretty similar to Bitcoin. You have that 15-minute bullish divergence. You did come up a little bit. Now, something to note here is that you are above this resistance line, right? So maybe, this is maybe you kind of come up, right? Maybe you come down, right? Come test this before coming up higher. But nonetheless, looking very similar to Bitcoin on the lower time frames. But the main difference here is that daily divergence actually printing that green dot, looking like ETH leading the charge here on that daily bullish divergence. Keep an eye on Bitcoin for that green dot on the daily to start printing. And like I said, bullish divergences don't play out 100% of the time, but they are very, very reliable. They do play out most of the time. Not financial advice. I'm just saying, I trade divergences pretty often. They are pretty reliable. Now, something else you want to note on Bitcoin is we are currently coming up to a point of control here when you pull some volume from this range. Which is about, from about June 14th to the current price. You do get a point of control coming up here, which we have been kind of just slamming our heads against. But if we can get a breakout above this point of control, it will be very likely that we could come up, probably going to see some resistance at this level right here, right? Obviously, we had some support right here. So typically when you break above these points of control, you do move closer to the value area high. And then And then, you know, when you come back down and you break the point of control to the downside, you usually come back down to this blue line, which is the value area low. So if we can get a breakout above this point of control, this red line right here, I do think we can start working our way up to this value area high, which is coming out to be about 22,450. So guys, let's go ahead and check in on the DXY really quickly here. So we are actually starting to come down with our DXY. You know, generally we did come up, get a nice healthy correction, and then the DXY started coming up, which is typically bearish for Bitcoin. If you guys don't know, the DXY typically moves inverse to Bitcoin. So in that case, it would be very bullish, or not, it would be somewhat bullish that we are getting a little dump here on the DXY. Coming down to the lower time frames, we are approaching some support, kind of smashing through all these levels, but coming down to a pretty strong level of support right about here. So you want to be careful for when we approach that support, but if we can continue to drop down to that support, it could actually give a little validity to the idea that Bitcoin could pump a little bit. But just in general, it is pretty bullish that we are seeing the DXY start to come down here. So, you know, again, I always like to push keeping your eye on not just crypto, but other surrounding markets, or, you know, other surrounding factors that could impact the price, like the DXY or the SPY, traditional markets, USDT dominance, things like that can kind of give you a little, more of a, you know, four-dimensional view of the entire market. So when you see the DXY coming down, USDT dominance with a bearish divergence and getting that dump, it is looking a little more bullish for Bitcoin, seeing these other things start to slow down. So guys, I think that's all I got for this quick little market update. I kind of did just want to give you guys an idea of what is kind of running through my head right now, and I did want to bring these bullish signs to your attention. We have the daily bullish divergence starting to print on Bitcoin. It is printing on ETH. Gonna want to wait. We're gonna have to wait about 7 hours to see it confirm on ETH, and then hopefully Bitcoin can follow suit. We're seeing the money flow come up on the lower time frames. We're seeing some bullish divs starting to form on those lower time frames, which is pretty bullish. Now you want to make sure you keep an eye on that 6-hour red dot that is looking to print here. So you want to keep your eye on that, but you know, you could bounce off that zero line or get a quick little turnaround on that VWAP. But for the most part, guys, there are some bullish things popping up on the charts, and especially on the daily time frame, these could be very powerful. So with all that being said, guys, I think that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a